This is for those who believe in God and or are curious about God and other gods. This is a safe place where we prove all things and not just the things that are comfortable to talk about. The beliefs shown are what have been proven to each speaker individually and biblically. Your examination determines if it is with respect of person or not. The main conclusion that has been drawn so far is there is but one God, the creator of the universe, and that as to other gods, if they contributed anything to the happiness of men, that each of them afforded it only according to his appointment and not by their own power. This is the coolest scripts have ever been expressed, not because the expressor is cool, but because the Most High is so cold and so warm. I think you get it though. Enjoy the show. All praises to the Most High God.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ahba. Thank you for this love, Ahba. Thank you for your knowledge, Ahba. Thank you for your wisdom, Ahba. Ahba, thank you for your understanding, Ahba. Ahba, thank you for your freedom, Ahba. Thank you for your justice, Ahba. Your equity, Ahba. You're not a respecter of persons, Ahba. Thank you for this food, Ahba. Thank you for being so righteous, so true, Ahba. Thank you for this clothing, Ahba. Thank you for not breaking your promises, Ahba. Thank you for this shelter, Ahba. Thank you for this love, Ahba, this peace, Ahba, this happiness, Ahba. Thank you for your son, most importantly. That's me. So welcome back to Just the Milk. We are on episode 17. My name is Nasah, and today we'll be going over obedience even in bondage. Obedience even in bondage. Now, I know that sounds a little weird, right? I know it does. Man, with our culture right now, we have a culture of hip hop, man. And just especially the young folks, we got a culture of hip hop. I'm somewhat young too, and I'm heavily involved in the hip hop culture. But just the baseline of our culture is really about rebellion. It's really about standing out. It's really about being different. It's really about overcoming and overturning authority, right? So this lesson today, we're going to go through some scriptures, man. And these scriptures are about us being in bondage and how we supposed to act when we in bondage. How do we know if we in bondage? We got to look at the state. We got to look at our state. We got to look at who's governing us, who's creating the laws, who's creating the rules. We got to look at how much freedom we actually have. So when we looking at these scriptures today, it's going to take a lot of maturity. A lot of these scriptures that we're going to go over, you know, these are the scriptures that everybody says been tampered with. But I'm going to go and we're going to examine the scripts and see if these scripts could really be the truth, some true scripts, some good, something to learn from these scripts. Like, and I tell you, these scripts are going to be hard to read for a lot of people, right? But if we can just digest it, it'll definitely change our perspective. It'll definitely help us grow. It'll definitely put us ahead of the game, and we're going to be better for it. Everybody who can digest this meat, everybody who can drink this milk, they're going to be better for it in the end. So, you know, we just got to ask the question, man. When our forefathers were in bondage, how did they act? Did they rebel? All right, man. So let's get into it, man. Right? So the first verse, 1 Corinthians 7, chapter 7, verses 17 through 24, is live according to your calling. Right? So no matter what your state is, it's live according to your calling. Let's get it, man. Now it says, verse 17, but as the Most High have distributed to every man, as the Most High have called everyone, let him walk. So, hey, right as he had called you, that's the way you should walk. Don't wait until your situation change. It say right here, but as God have distributed to every man, as he has given to every man, as the Lord have called everyone, so let him walk. Right? Here we go. It says, and so ordained I in all churches. Is any man called being circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. Hey, if you was called being uncircumcised and you over there with the uncircumcised folks when you got called, don't switch up the whole game and get hurt all of a sudden, become circumcised. No, the Most High needs you right over there, right? The Most High needs you right over there with them circumcised people. So if you was called being circumcised, don't become uncircumcised. Stay right where you at, because there's a plan for you. And if you can't see the plan, you got to listen. What are you listening for? You're listening to this voice. And if you could be that still small voice, right, that Elijah heard, and if you can be obedient to this voice, no matter what your circumstance, this voice I'm talking about, this is the voice of God. This is the Holy Spirit. If you could be, the whole lesson, the whole last lesson was about that. So if you could be obedient to this voice, no matter what circumstance, you're going to see how God works, how he's able to move, how he's planning a route out for you, right in your circumstance, right where you are right now. If you just start listening today, there's a route out. Through obedience, though. Through obedience to what? Not man, to this voice. To this voice. Now watch, let's get it. So it says, is any man called being circumcised? Let him not become uncircumcised. So if he calls you over there with the circumcised people, don't all of a sudden become uncircumcised, right? Is any man called in uncircumcision? Let him not become circumcised. So he said, hey, if when the Most High came to you and told you, you know what I'm saying, to do this, to do that, you was uncircumcised, don't all of a sudden hop up and change the whole script and become circumcised, become a whole different person. No, we need you to be you where you are, but just be you for the Most High. Be you being obedient to that voice. Now, let's keep going. Now it says, verse 19, circumcision is nothing and uncircumcision is nothing but the keeping of the commandments of God. So what's it talking about? Them 10 commandments? Yeah, it's talking about the 10 commandments. It's talking about any commandments that apply from the 618 commandments. But it's also talking about what? Those commandments that's written right here on your heart. Every day we getting commands. Every day we getting tasks. Are we completing those tasks? Are we being obedient? That's a question, right? So it says, let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called. So you ain't got to do nothing special to start on your journey for the Most High. You ain't got to go and recreate yourself. You ain't got to go quit your job. You ain't got to, if and within your calling, the Most High leads you to a place where you can't quit your job, do that. Listen to the voice, be obedient. But don't just think that, hey, no, I can't be obedient to God until I quit my job. This job ain't no good. These rulers ain't no good. No. The Most High has influence. The Most High is going to use you to influence those around you. The Most High is going to use your situation to be a testimony for other people. So keep your ears open. Get your eyes closed because you're praying. Ears open, eyes closed. Right? We walk not by sight. We walk not by sight. Eyes closed, man. So let's keep going. Verse 21, it says, art thou called being a servant? Care not for it. So, hey, if you called being a servant, hey, don't worry about what they call you. If you a janitor right now, if you're a garbage man right now, if you just a server right now, hey, that's good enough. Don't even worry about your title. Everybody want to wait until they become CEO to start following God. No, don't wait till you're a millionaire. We need you to start right here. Don't wait until you got it all figured out. Let God figure it out for you. Watch this. It says, but if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. So it said, hey, if you can get free, use that. But no matter if you're free or you're a servant, it said use it. Use your position. Here we go, verse 22. For he that is called in the Most High, being a servant, is the Lord's freeman. So yes, if you was called in the Most High, don't change everything else up. Because yes, you are a servant, you are a slave to your master, to your captivity, whatever position you're in, but that's cool because you're free in the Most High. You're the Most High's freeman. Watch this. Now it says, likewise, also he that is called being free is Christ's servant. So, hey, even when you do get free, you still going to be a servant. You still going to be a slave. Servant to what? Servant to Christ, to his ways, to his teachings. So no matter what happens, no matter if you get free or you don't, you're going to be a servant regardless. You're going to be God, the Lord's freeman, or you're going to be Christ's servant. Whichever one you're going to be doing, you're still going to be serving the same purpose. So don't let, whether you perceive yourself as being free, whether you perceive yourself in a good position to make change, don't let that deter you from following your calling. We got to live according to our calling. It says live according to your calling, not die according to your calling. Don't wait till you're about to die. Right now, while you're living, your whole life, live according to your calling. Watch the change. And we're going to examine, we're going to look at the stories of Joseph and the stories of Daniel, and we're going to see how the Most High works right where you are. No matter what the situation, the Most High is going to work in your life right where you are. You don't have to wait. Now watch this. Let's keep going. It says, verse 23, ye are bought with a price. Be not ye the servants of men. So, hey, what price were you bought with? Christ. Christ's death. He died, the blood on Calvary. Yep. That's the price. So he said, hey, don't worry about man auction blocks. Don't worry about your salary. Don't worry are you yearly? You got an annual salary? Don't worry about that. You got an hourly? What's up? You get paid weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? Hey, don't even worry about none of that, because what? You already bought, so no matter what happened, you're going to be a servant. You bought with what? The blood of Christ. Let's keep going. Verse 24, brethren, let every man wherein he is called therein abide with God. So no matter where you at, it keeps saying the same thing in different ways. No matter where you at, abide in the Most High, dwell in him, make him your refuge, make him your habitation. Let's keep going. Now we're going to look at Joseph in slavery. And now we're going to see what type of spirit he had. Do he got the spirit of Tupac? Right? Do he got the spirit of Boosie? Do he got the spirit of DMX? What spirit is he? How is he moving in the world? Right? This is Joseph in slavery. Now you got to think about it. This is the son of Jacob, the youngest of his brothers at the time. Of course, eventually Benjamin came. Benjamin was the only brother younger than Joseph, but he was the main brother he was the first son of Rachel. And everybody was jealous. I'm just giving y'all a quick recap so y'all can figure out what was going on. He got the colorful coat, the ephod, right? And he started having dreams as soon as he got the coat. And he said, hey, I'm going to be over my brothers. Brothers didn't like that. He started talking that slick talk, right? Brothers didn't like that. Hey, his father said, he told his father the dreams. His father said, yeah, I think, hey, that sound about right. That sound like the right interpretation of the dream. Joseph might be on to something. He might be over y'all. That's what that dream really means, right? Brothers ain't like that. So they start conspiring, right? Eventually, they throw him in the pit, right? Eventually, Judah sold him off to the Ishmaelites, to his cousins and them, right? So it's great cousins, right? Because what would that be? That'd be his grandfather, his grandfather's brother. Isaac's brother was Ishmael. So he sold him off to the Ishmaelites, right? His grandfather's brother's family. This is great cousins. So now let's get some of the story. We're going to start in Genesis 39. Whenever y'all don't see verses by that, man, we're going to go through the whole chapter. Hey, don't be nervous though. Don't be scared. We're going to get it. Chapters are good. I'm telling you. All right, here we go. Chapter 39, verse 1. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of a guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites. So it don't say brought with an R. It said he bought. So he paid for him. He paid for him as a servant. He bought him from the Ishmaelites. It says, which have brought him down thither, which have brought him down there. Verse 2. And the Most High was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man. So now, wait. So my man go into slavery, and God is still with him. God ain't waiting for him to get free to bless him. It said he was a prosperous man in slavery. He was just sold. Imagine coming off the auction blocks, and the Most High still with you. The Most High still making you prosperous. The Most High still taking care of you. Watch this. So he said he was prosperous. Let's get the definition of prosperous. Successful in material terms, flourishing financially. So as a slave, he was successful in material terms, flourishing financially. He was bringing wealth and success as a slave. Let's not forget why. Why? Verse 2, and the Most High was with Joseph, and the Lord was with Joseph. And he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Egyptian. So we got a slave and a master right here, a servant and a master, the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Most High was with him, and that the Most High made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had put into his hand. So he get the Most High rocking with him, man. It ain't no shoot 'em up story. It ain't no Nat Turner story. What's the attitude? Hey, no matter where I'm at, all I got to do is stay true to the Ahba. All I got to do is stay true to the Father. And I'm going to overcome regardless. That's the attitude. That's the spirit of Joseph. It's the spirit of Christ. Hey, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. It ain't going to affect us. Who face you see stamped on that money? Who name you see carved into that money? Hey, render that unto him. Pay him tribute. That ain't going to affect us. We above that. We greater than that. This is the spirit we supposed to have. Now watch this. Right? So verse 5, and it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Most High blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Most High was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. Now, ain't this sound familiar? He blessed Potiphar's house for Joseph's sake, right? It sounds like when the Most High blessed Laban's house for Jacob's sake, when he went to get his wives. Think about it. Now, don't forget, this is just Joseph. Joseph is just Jacob's son, like father, like son. If you're obedient, if you're listening. Now watch this. Right? And it says, and the blessing, we at the end of verse 5, and it says, and the blessing of the Most High was upon all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand. And he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And he left everything he had in Joseph's hand, coming from a slave. This is the power of the Most High. To the point he didn't even know what he had except the bread that was in his hand. He trusted him that much. All right. And Joseph was a goodly person and well favored. So now that means Joseph is prosperous financially, and he was a goodly person and well favored. I thought this was interesting. We're going to see what this translation really says when it says he was a goodly person and well favored, because Joseph was all around blessed. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure that we're looking at this, all the way around from all perspectives. Watch this. Watch this. And it says, and was Joseph handsome in form and handsome in appearance. Now let's go back to it. So it said, and Joseph was a handsome person in the face and in form, and he was built. This is what the scripts say. This ain't what I'm saying. This ain't no pause moment. This is what the scripts is saying. So now we gotta look at it. Why is it saying this? We're about to find it, right? And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. They just told you. See, in the English translation, it just say he was a goodly person and favored. That ain't telling you much. But when you go look at the Hebrew, you see, oh, they saying he looked good. They saying he was built, he was in shape. So ain't no wonder why it says that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, lie with me. Verse 8, but he refused and said unto his master's wife, behold, my master knoweth not what is with me in the house, and he that hath committed all that he had to my hand. Right? So he said, hey, behold, my master wotteth, or my master knoweth not what is with me in the house. So he said, hey, the master put everything into my hand. Come on now. You put me in a bad position. Watch this. It say, verse 9, there is none greater in this house than I. neither have he kept anything back from me but thee. So he said, hey, the master already done gave me everything in this house, man. I can't want for no more. And I'm just a slave, but I'm favored from the Most High. Hey, only thing he kept back from me was you. Hey, and I don't even need that. I don't even want that. Eventually, he gonna even get Potiphar's daughter. Now watch this. See, how many of us would have been strong enough? How many of us, right? Right, let's keep going. Now it says, hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife? How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? He didn't say sin against Potiphar or sin against my master. He said sin against God. Why? Because Joseph knows this whole time that in his heart and his mind, he not serving Potiphar. He's serving the Most High. That's his attitude. And we're going to get where that attitude comes from in a second. So watch this. This is why Joseph ain't rebelling. These next slides, quick slides, we're going to take a break from the story of Joseph, right? And go into Ephesians real quick. Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through 13. So rebel for what? So, hey, if the master is going to give you everything if you be obedient, what are you rebelling for? What's the point? Now watch this. Now we got to see, okay, so in our culture, why is rebellion? Why is disobedience so ingrained? Why is that one of the main talking points? Hey, even in our music, it ain't nothing but breaking the law, whether it be with drugs, whether it be with women, whether it be with money, we money laundering, we scamming, we commit adultery, we fornicating, we're out of order, we intoxicating ourselves, we're not sober-minded to the point that we lose control of our lives, right? So what's up with this disobedience against what we know is right, against what that little voice that Elijah was listening to, that against the instructions that come from the Holy Spirit? What's up with us being so disobedient? Why do we despise those instructions so much? If God wrote the law on our hearts, why can't we follow it? Let's get it. Now, Ephesians chapter 6, verses 1 through 13. Children, obey your parents in the Most High, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. What does this mean? It's the first commandment. When you look at the 10 commandments, it's the first one of the commandments that a promise came with it. Go back, Exodus 20. It's the first commandment that a promise came with it. What commandment is this? Right here, verse 3, that it may be well with thee and thou mayest live long on the earth. So it say, hey, if y'all honor your mother and your father, you'll live. It'll be well with you. It'll be well with you. You'll live well. You'll live healthily, right? And you'll live long on the earth. If we, when we think back at our lives, where would we be if we had just obeyed our parents? How much better would our lives be? Hey, man, if you're the youth right now, man, don't wait to start listening to your parents. I had to grow up and I had to look back like, dang, they was only trying to protect me. They was only trying to lead me down the right path. They was only trying to put me in position to become greater. So, hey, I'm telling you, you might not be able to see it now. You might want to go out and have fun. You might want to do this. Hey, but when they say read, go ahead and read. When they say clean up, go ahead, clean up. When they say, hey, nah, that party ain't for you, don't go to that one. Hey, listen, man. You know how many times I avoided death because I wasn't allowed to go to the party that night. You know how many times I snuck out, went to the party anyway, and they end up shooting at the party. You know how many times I didn't get to go to the party because I couldn't sneak out and they were shooting at the party. I'm from Chicago, so just imagine. Now this is what it say. Children, obey your parents in the Most High, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee and thou mayest live long on the earth. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Most High. So, hey, fathers, don't provoke your children, all right? Bring them up in admonish them in the way of the Most High. All right? Because Like we are still responsible for our kids and the way they turn out. So don't provoke your children to anger. Hey man, it's a certain amount of touch you gotta have with a certain amount of finesse you gotta have with the kids. Telling y'all, hey, this is Paul writing to the church of Ephesus, church of the Ephesians. He said, hey, this is the beginning, man. And when you the first chapter of Proverbs, right? Honor that. It's talk about, follow the instructions of your father and forsaking not the law of your mother. So now, here they starting you out to say, hey, this is going to save you. If you just start here, you will be saved. But then for the parents and the kids, like if the fathers bring their kids to wrath, right? What typically happens? The kids start hating their parents and everything that they tell them to do. They start wanting to rebel. That's why it's a certain amount of finesse. It's a certain amount of tact. It's a certain amount of subtlety, a certain amount of prudence, a certain amount of skill that you got to have when you're raising your children. And I just know from me being a child, at the times when my parents angered me, and how it made me want to go against what they were saying. So, hey, it's a certain amount of tact, right? Certain amount of strategy, right? That we got to have. So now, because what? If they don't listen to this is where they're going to end up. This is why Paul is saying servants. First word in verse 5, servants. Why? Because it's the same word for slave. Hey, slaves, be obedient to them that are your masters, because he knows already if you don't catch them while they're kids, they're going to end up going off. And we know what happens to Israel when they go off. He knows that, Israel has already been off and we are already in captivity. So I'm writing this letter to try to save the kids while they're young so the Most High can intervene so that they don't have to make it to slaves. But if there are some that are already in captivity, and in the future, they may go back into captivity again, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. See, the first story was Joseph. He ended up in captivity. He didn't do nothing wrong. So he had the most reason to rebel. But just keep in mind the spirit Joseph had. We ain't done with the story. We're going to jump back after we come out of this. It says, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. See? Not according to the spirit. They ain't talking about some spiritual masters. Hey, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. See, let's take a different level of understanding. Let's take a different level, right, of obedience. Let's take a different level of obedience, because what you see here is the way we become servants is by disobeying God. And we're going to see it in the story of Daniel. The Most High brings us into captivity. It's part of Deuteronomy 28. He brings us into captivity. We're the lost people. He scatters us. Why? Because we were not obedient in the first place. So we trying to get out of the Most High's scattering, out of the Most High's punishment by rebelling, which is being disobedient. So how can you try to get out of your punishment of being disobedient by being more disobedient? Since when did being more disobedient get you in good favor with the Most High? We got to think about it. That's what right now, when we in slavery, when we in bondage, when we in captivity, when we're not governing ourselves, these people were put over us by the Most High because our wicked was that much greater. Our wickedness was that much greater. So now watch this. It says, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling and singleness of heart, as unto Christ. So, hey, be obedient. Why? Because you're supposed to be obedient with your heart as if you're serving Christ. Not with eye service as men pleasers. So, hey, not with eye service. So don't just, hey, when they come around you at work, I'm going to make it look like I'm working. oh, I just want to make it look good, even though in my heart, I really don't want to do this. I'm just trying to look good for them so that I can keep this job, so that I could potentially get ahead. But in my heart, I hate this with all my heart. See, but that's the wrong perspective. We about to get the right perspective. Hey, I can't stand coming into work. Why? Because you don't want to work for man. But let's see what the right perspective on this actually is. Watch this. Not with eye service as men pleasers. So we're not doing it to please men. We don't do our work to please men. It says, but as the servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. So why do we have to work for our slave masters? As the servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. Let's get it. Let's get the verse. Jeremiah 17, verses 10 through 11. I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins and give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. So wait, he said he searched your heart and he gonna give you according to the fruit of your doings. I, the Lord, search the heart. So now you got to say, hey, I'm in slavery though. What is he talking about? That sounds like something. That sounds like a scripture for a free man. If I'm in bondage, if I'm at work doing something I don't want to do, why would the Most High be searching my heart? And I'm working for a bad boss. I'm working for a boss that neglects me. I'm working for a slave master that don't treat me right. Watch this. Verse 7, it says, I'm going to read verse 6 again. Not with eye service as men pleasers, but as the servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. Why from the heart? Because he going to give to you according to your heart. That's why no matter what your position is, you got to continue to work for God. You got to continue to work as if you are working for God from your heart. Why? Because he's going to examine your heart, and then that's how you're going to be rewarded. That's how you're going to be given unto. We're about to get it. Verse 7, with good will, doing the service as to the Most High and not to men. With good will, doing the service as to the Most High and not to men. Knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Most High, whether he be bond or free. So right here, he gonna get to you according to your ways in Jeremiah 17, regardless if you're a bondman, regardless if you're a slave or if you're free. That's how Joseph moved up. That's why we even looking at this. I'm trying to tell y'all, I'm trying to show y'all how no matter what your state is, the Most High gonna bless you and give you more. In fact, he can bless you more from the state of a slave than the state of a free man. Or you trying to quit your job and start from the bottom. Started from the bottom, now we're here. So now the whole team here, you started from the bottom. Look how hard you had to work. But if you would have just stayed in position, the Most High could have handed you everything that was your slave masters. Just like that. But you was eager to leave and start from the bottom. You felt like you couldn't listen to the voice of the Spirit. You couldn't do the task that you were given while you were working. You couldn't work a couple hours after work to get to where you needed to be. You felt like you had to leave. Hey, no, don't leave. The Most High gonna hand you everything in the hands of your masters. If you are obedient. If you work not with eye service as men pleasers, but as the servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart. And I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna show it. I'm about to show this. He just gave it to Joseph. Why he can't give it to you? Oh, Joseph's just better than you, huh? You ain't got the blood of Joseph in you, huh? He can do it for this man, but he can't do it for you. Come on, man. Let's get it together. Let's pull it together. So it says, knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Most High, whether he be bond or free. So it don't matter what your position is. It don't matter if you're a slave. It don't matter if you're a janitor. It don't matter if you're a CEO. The Most High could bless you right away. Ain't no reason to rebel. Our culture of rebellion is what's keeping us where we at. It's going to come out. Hopefully by the end, it's abundantly clear. I know I always say that. It's abundantly clear. Verse 9, and ye masters do the same things unto them, forbearing, threatening, knowing that your master also is in heaven. neither is there respect of persons with him. So it's saying, hey, and the masses, the people, like once you get in the position of power or the people that's over you, it's only there because God put them there. So they're supposed to be ruling you, right? They're supposed to be ruling you with fear of the Most High. Because it says, knowing that your master is also in heaven. They're supposed to be ruling you with fear of the Most High. Let's see if they do. Let's see if they do. Watch this. Verse 10. Verse 10. We're still in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Most High and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. So this is your strength. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. See, you trying to break out of slavery. We trying to break out of our position, our punishment. Whenever somebody is over us, this is a part of our chastisement. This is a part of our come back to me. This is a part of that come back to me message from God. And we trying to rebel and break out of our punishment by force. Okay, so let's say you do break out. Let's say you do get free. Let's say they do give black people a sovereign state. Let's say they do all this stuff, but we still not following him. What's coming next for us? More oppression, more slavery, more punishment. Why? Because it says if you hearken, these are the blessings. If you disobedient, and Deuteronomy, if you're disobedient, these are the curses. Not saying that we're under the curse, but I'm saying that if you are a son of God, you will be chastised. The covenant is still good. If you're a son of God, you will be chastised. So you do all this work to rebel and get away for free. And then you end up right back where you was because you didn't rebel and get free and start following God. You start doing more of the nonsense you was doing before. So now what? Ain't nothing working. Every time you try something, it's failing. Every time you try to take a step that way, you take 2 steps back. Why? Because you got to put the Most High first. Why? Because you got to listen to the Holy Spirit. It tell you right here, we're not battling, man. We're not battling our masters. They were put in place for a reason because we was going off. We're not battling them. We're battling darkness, principalities, against powers, not against flesh and blood. So no matter how much you fight with your masters, even if you kill your masters, there's going to be another master coming because you ain't learned your lesson yet. What's your lesson? Obedience. No matter your position. Watch this. Joseph in slavery. Now, we back right back in the story of Joseph. Now, this is a dude that went into slavery when he didn't do nothing wrong. This is a dude, as soon as he got there, he was lifted up. Why? Because he was obedient. Why? Because the Most High gave him favor. Now, watch this. Now, he about to be accused from his master's wife. And let's see what happened when he get accused. Let's see if he started to rebel now when he wrongly accused. Hey, I know me personally, I would want to rebel. Hey, man, no, Potiphar, on everything that wasn't me. You put me in prison for no reason. I'm about to break out, cuz. This ain't right. Ain't nothing about this right. I'm mad. Let's see what Joseph did. Let's see what Joseph's perspective was. Watch this. Now it says, there's none greater in this house than I, neither hath he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Verse 10, and it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. Verse 11, and it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business. Verse 11, he going into the crib to do his own business. Let's keep going. And there was none of the men of the house there within. So nobody was at the crib. It was just them two. Verse 12, and she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled out and got him out. So he knew it was trouble. He knew, hey, I'm not working for your husband. I'm not in this position because of your husband. I'm not in this position for me. I'm here working for God. I'm here working for the Most High. I'm here working as if I'm working for the Most High. That's how I'm in this position. Your husband gave me everything. Let's keep going. Verse 13. And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, see, he hath brought in an Hebrew unto us to mock us. He came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And so she said, hey, look, man, they brought this Hebrew in the crib, and look what he did. He came in here to lie with me. Why? Because she was mad that he didn't want to hit. He didn't even want it. He didn't even want that joint. She a straggler. He was like, bro, I ain't got time for no stragglers, cuz. Verse 15. And it came to pass when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. She got a whole lie ready. She got a whole story ready, and he ain't got no witnesses. Watch this. Verse 16. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. So she plotted, she waiting. At verse 17. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which thou hast brought unto us came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. Now, this is what she telling her husband. She made up the whole story. Hey, he wanted me, when in actuality, it was in reverse. Now, let's see how mad would you be? Put yourself in Joseph's position. Would rebellion be on your mind? Would you be trying to fight back? Right? Would you be trying to figure out, hey, I need to get a fair trial? Let's see what's happening. Verse 19. And it came to pass when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound, though he got put into the king's prison. And you ain't gonna tell me y'all wouldn't have been super mad, dumb mad that y'all was in prison. You ain't did nothing wrong. Now imagine, you got everything in the kingdom, and this one lady come messing it up. You ain't did nothing wrong. How much higher is your rebellion meter going up? Now let's get verse 20. Now let's get verse 21. But the Most High was with Joseph and showed him mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. So, hey, it's still one time to rebel. It's still one time to fight the flesh. Why? Because the Most High still with him. He know he ain't did nothing wrong. But see, that's trust in the Most High. That's trust in the Spirit. So even when he got to the prison, the Most High gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Verse 22, and the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners that were in the prison. And whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. So just like that, now he in charge of the prison. He could have rebelled. He could have fought. He could have fought off Potiphar and his guards and got out and tried to run back to the crib. He knew he was from Israel. He could have, but he didn't. It just said that he was handsome and in shape. He could have fought, but he didn't. We know people from Israel. One man can fight off 10, but he didn't. Come on, man. 2 men fight off 1,000, but he didn't. Watch this. Verse 23, the keeper of the prison looked not to anything that was under his hand, because the Most High was with him. And that which he did, the Lord made it to prosper. The Most High made it to prosper. So let's see. Well, what did we see from the story of Joseph? Right, obedience. Right. No matter what your position is, no matter what your occupation is, no matter your job description, no matter if you're a free man, no matter if you're a servant. Obedient to what? The voice of the Most High. Obedient to what? The truth. Obedient to what? The commandments. Obedient to what? The law written on your heart. Let's keep going. Diligence. Second thing we see from the story of Joseph, right? The Most High will reward you no matter your situation if the will of God is done from the heart. Where were the scripts written? They written on your heart. So if you listen to the law that's on your heart, you listen to your conscience, you listen to the Holy Spirit, not the other voice telling you to do the wrong thing, the voice telling you to do the right thing. It's very subtle. And when the instructions come, they plain. They not The Spirit ain't giving you no algebraic equations if you don't know algebra. The Spirit ain't talking in the law of physics if you ain't read no physics books. The Spirit ain't talking about no astronomical science if you can't see the stars, you ain't got no telescope. It's coming to you in a language you know. It's going to be plain and simple. All right, non-respecter, right? The Most High is a non-respecter of person. This isn't dependent upon you being slave or free. Your reward can actually be greater as a slave. We just saw that. Joseph, the Potiphar gave him everything in his house. He got to the prison. Most High gave him everything in the prison. Everything was under his thumb. Everything was under his control. Now watch this. Subjection leads, right? Subjection leads. So we're trying to get to the spirit that we're supposed to have to break free, right? Not to break free in the flesh, to break free in the spirit. So we got to humble ourselves before we exalt it. Exalted what? In the flesh? No, not exalted in the flesh, exalted in the spirit. We got to humble our flesh so that we can be exalted in the spirit. Let's get it. Verse 1, Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through 7. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. See, a lot of these verses people don't like. They read these and can't find the truth in them. They read them and say, nah, the Caucasoids must have messed with this one. Somebody to mess with this one, cuz. Hey, let every soul be subject unto the high powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of God. So this is saying, hey, when the Most High sent the Chaldeans down, when the Most High sent the Persians down to take over, they were sent by him. I mean, when the Persians came down to take over, when we started going off, and every time we started going off, somebody sieged our land is besieged, that's sent by God. So it's saying, now that you're there, be obedient to the people that God sent. And don't worry because if you do the right thing, if you follow the Spirit, you will be rewarded. Let's keep going. Verse 2, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they shall receive themselves to damnation. Hey, this reminded me, I was watching this Young Thug trial, and every time they went on break, so the Young Thug trial is a popular hip hop artist and YSL, you know, they was down on Cleveland in Atlanta, and there's just a gang of people and different things was happening. And, you know, they try to look at the rap lyrics and indict them based on rap lyrics, you know. And it's this system, right? It's this system. The things that they're accusing Young Thug and YSL of are not good things, are not favorable things, right? So when it says here, unto the high powers, it says, whosoever therefore resisted the power, resisted the ordinance of God, right? Now, you got to say, hey, well, how is this country built up? These people are over us right now. These people were our slave masters. What did the Most High base this country on? And during this lawsuit, I kept seeing, they keep putting this seal up as if there's something important about this seal. 1776 is the Declaration of Independence, right? That's that year. But in it says Constitution at the top. And it says the Constitution of this country, of this state, is based upon wisdom, justice, and moderation or equity. So back then, right, you could say, man, ain't nobody getting no fair trials, bro. Ain't no wisdom and justice and moderation in this country. That's just a seal, right? And you could say that before. But I'm watching this case, right? It's a black prosecutor. It's all black people in the courtroom. It's a couple white people. It's a black judge. It's a black jury. You get a jury of your peers. They're in Atlanta off Cleveland. It's black people on the jury. It's all black lawyer teams, defendants, the defendant attorneys, all black. So how you going to say, hey, they looking down upon us because we this, because we that? Now, it's our people. We just going off, man. And I'm not saying he going to get found guilty. I'm just saying that things happen in our community And they trying to put the blame on him. But the things that happen in the community, they were things about rebellion. Only way they can charge him with all this stuff, because in the music, it's talking about what? Rebellion. Rebellion against what? The system, against the laws. All this stuff they charging him is saying, hey, he not following the ordinances of the people that the Most High put over them. But if he was, imagine young Thug in a position of Joseph. Just imagine, right? Now watch this. Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? So, hey, they not in a court case trying to stop Young Thug from doing good. They ain't charging him for feeding the homeless, for building homes. They ain't charging him for giving money away. They ain't charging him for helping people get off drugs. They ain't charging them for saving people's lives, building hospitals. They charging them for the exact opposite. But we can't see that there's more money in saving people's lives than taking it. Who make more money, hospitals or drug dealers? Think about it. Who make more money at hospitals or killers? Hospitals saving lives, killers taking lives. Who making more? Who in a better position? Who following up? Ain't no laws against the hospitals from doing the right thing. This is what it's talking about. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? So it's say, if you doing the right thing, you ain't got to be afraid of nothing. Ain't no reason to rebel. Why? Because do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. Go back. Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. That's the end of verse 3. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. Who is this talking about? It's talking about, this is in Romans. I've been in Ephesians. I've been in Corinthians. Obviously, we scattered about and we in bondage. These are people the book is talking about. I'm not sure if y'all know or not. These is our people, bro. That's why we get charged more aggressively for our crimes, because we got more responsibility. We the God's people. Then they say it's supposed to be a lost tribe, some lost tribe somewhere, some lost people at the end of the world that lost their heritage, that lost their culture. This is what we lost. This is our culture. Our culture is just following what the Most High told us to do. Our culture is just being obedient, just loving our brother as we love ourselves. That's our culture. All this other stuff, just being respectful, that's our culture. Just being blessed, just balling out, that's our culture. Right? Now watch this. For he is the minister of God to thee for good. Who? The master, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we gotta have masters because we ain't listening. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. So if he did evil, if Thug and his fam and his homeboys did something wrong, they're gonna be punished accordingly. This ain't by mistake. Verse 5, wherefore ye must needs to be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake. For this cause pay ye tribute also, for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom. So basically, hey man, basically what Yeshua said, hey, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Hey, they over y'all for they over y'all for a reason, man. Just pay y'all dues, fall in line, and the Most High gonna bring y'all out. It's that simple. I know we hate to hear this, but it's because we not following the spirit how we supposed to. We got the zeal, but not according to knowledge. Not according to knowledge. Where is that knowledge coming from? The Holy Spirit. Where does the Holy Spirit dwell? It dwells with the prudent. Come on, man. So now, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. Now let's get Daniel. And we're going to see what Daniel did when he was in bondage. You're going to see what Daniel did when he's in captivity. Is rebelling even on the menu for them. A lot of us say, man, if I go back when I was a slave, man, I'd have been took over. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Not without the right mindset. Not if you weren't listening to the Spirit taking over. Why? Because God put you there. Man didn't put you there. God put you there. We're not wrestling with flesh and blood. You ain't listening. You ain't reading. We destroyed for a lack of knowledge. You ain't got the right knowledge to get out. Let's get out. Let's get this knowledge. Let's get to it. We holding ourselves back. It ain't no secret sauce. It ain't nothing special. All we got to do is be obedient. For real. All right, man. Daniel 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So it says Jehoiakim, king of Judah, was ruling. And then King Nebuchadnezzar came unto Jerusalem and besieged it. And the Most High gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of God. So who gave the kingdom over to Nebuchadnezzar? The Most High. This is what I'm talking about. It says, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. So right here, clear as day, the Most High gave the kingdom of Judah, gave Jerusalem into King Nebuchadnezzar's hand. Now watch this. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, right, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and the king's seed and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom. There we go again. Who else is well favored? Joseph. Who else is wise? Joseph. Let's keep going. It says, and cunning and knowledge and understanding science, and such had ability in them to stand in the king's palace. So when we examine ourselves, do we have these things? And why don't we? Are we well favored? Are we skillful in all wisdom? Are we cunning in knowledge? Do we understand science? Are we able to stand in the king's place? Right? Let's keep going. And whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans. Are we able to learn the second language, another language? Are we? The answer is yes. If what? If you're obedient. Let's keep going. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. So the king said, hey, I'm going to give them 3 years to get it together. I want y'all to get them some certain meats. I want y'all to get them wine. I want y'all to get them ready to stand before me. Before they stand before me, they got to understand the tongue of the Chaldeans. That's the land, the Chaldeans, Ur of Chaldea. That's where Abraham came from. They got to understand the language of the Chaldeans. Why? So they can work for me. Keep in mind, these is Hebrews learning the language of the Chaldeans. He's going to give them 3 years to get all this done. It says 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Verse 6, now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Verse 7, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name of Belteshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael, Meshach, and to Azariah, Abednego. So he gave them names that Nebuchadnezzar would find appealing, right? So this Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the same ones from the fire. They ain't made it there yet, but they going. We ain't gonna cover it, but they going. Open your Bible, you can read it. All right, verse 8. But Daniel had purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Wait. Daniel did what? He purposed where? In his heart. Why did he purpose in his heart? Because I, the Lord, search the heart and try the reins and give to every man according to his ways. you're going to notice as a thread. That means that Daniel is working and learning these languages and living his life with a purpose in his heart to serve the Most High. As this continuous thread. He's working to serve the Most High no matter where he at. So it just said King Nebuchadnezzar took over. He besieged the land. And he calling people, hey, I want only the smartest and the brightest to come work for me. I need them to eat this food, drink this wine, and learn these languages. Only bring the most skilled, unblemished, most beautiful children to me. And they gonna work for me. Daniel ain't got no choice. Meshach, Abednego, it's 4 of them. They ain't got no choice. But it don't say nothing about no rebellion in here. What it do say is Daniel trying to purpose himself for God while he in captivity. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. Don't that sound familiar? Ain't this what the Most High did for Joseph? He brought him into good favor with Potiphar. Ain't this what the Most High did for Joseph? He brought him in good favor with the ruler, the leader of the jail, the head of the jail. Let's keep going. So it says that the Most High had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who have appointed your meat and drink. For why should he see your faces worse likened than the children which are of your sort? So he said, hey, I know you telling me that you don't want none of this meat and this wine, but I don't want the king to see you not looking like everybody else. I don't want him to see you looking down, malnourished and stuff. Right here. So it says, then shall ye make me endangered, my head to the king. He said, hey, if y'all come in here looking bad, the king gonna be mad at me. If y'all come in here looking frail, unhealthy and stuff. When he gave y'all allowance of meat and wine, but you trying to eat something else. Watch this. Verse 11. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us post to eat and water to drink. So he said, hey, trust me, let me try for just 10 days. Sound like what Tyronn Lue said for the Clippers. Hey, give me 10 days, I'm 10 games. But he say, let me try for 10 days. It said, verse 13, then let our countenances be looked upon before thee. So after 10 days, hey, take a look at us and see if we look better than or worse. Watch this. It says, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. So it says, compare our countenances with the countenances of the children that eat of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So thy servants or thy slaves. Verse 14. So he consented to them in this matter and proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. So, hey, after 10 days, they was looking good. They was looking way better than anybody else. Verse 16. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink and gave them posts. It says, as for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill and all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Who else had understanding in all vision and dreams? And that caused him to get thrown into a pit and sent into slavery and sent down to Egypt and sold into slavery in Egypt. Same. Yeah, you guessed it. Joseph. Let's keep going. Now at the verse 18. Now at the end of the days that the king has said he should bring them in. So at the end of the 3 years, right? Then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. Verse 19. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So we just heard that the Most High gave them knowledge and skill and all learning and wisdom. And They looking better than everybody else. But did they do it of their own? No, they did it in order to serve the Most High. God blessed them. They weren't special in flesh and blood, but in spirit they were. And then God gave them knowledge and skill. We got to pay attention. They didn't rebel and get knowledge and skill. They were obedient and got knowledge and skill. Obedient to who? The masters? No, not the masters. Obedient to the Most High. They purposed their heart to the Most High. Watch this. Verse 19. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king. And in all the matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus. So they had 10 times more knowledge than the magicians. They had 10 times more knowledge than the astrologers. Ask yourself. And this whole culture of disobedience, is anybody running around here with 10 times more knowledge? All this disobedience we trying to do. Our whole culture is based on it. Who trying to be obedient? Who trying to listen? Who mantra is obey, obey, obey? I ain't hearing it. I ain't seeing it. But I'm telling you, this is the way. This is what we missing. So no matter where you at, just start to be obedient. No matter your calling, no matter your office, your station. No matter if you the top person or the lowest in the company, start being obedient. Don't work for man. Work as if you're working for God. Why? Because he's watching. He's watching you. The Most High is watching. Not man. The Most High is watching. All right, man. Submission to the Most High. 1 Peter 2, verses 13 through 20. Verse 13. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Most High's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers. Now, I know it's hard to keep hearing about these submit. Hey, I know it's hard to keep hearing about these verses that everybody been telling us has been tampered with. But I'm telling you, it's knowledge. The Bible is good, it's true, it's fair, it's equitable. It's trying to show us something. It's trying to show us something. But because of the culture that's been given to us, the lies we inherited as well, we're not receptive. Submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Most High's sake. So don't submit yourself to man for man. Do it for the Most High, whether it be to the king as supreme or unto governors as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. So that was a mouthful. So I'm going to show you after this the end result to them being obedient. I know I know it sounds like, hey, I'm a coon, like I lost it, like I'm Uncle Tom. No. Read the stories and keep everything in context. Understand, right? It says, as unto them that are sent by him for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. So he said, hey, if you do evil while you're in captivity, it's going to be punishment coming. If you do well, you will be praised. How? The same way Daniel was praised. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was praised. It's having 10 times more knowledge. I'm going to show you the end of that story. The same way Joseph was praised. These is just the first chapters of the story. These are full books. And guess what? The people who were obedient came out on top. None of them rebelled. What successful rebellions did you see in the Bible that weren't led by the Most High, where they didn't come up honorably at first and ask for freedom? And where they wasn't following God, where they wasn't doing everything right. Let's keep going. It says, for so is the will of God, that with well-doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. So, hey, it say, hey, when you come here, man, submit yourselves. All right. The people that's over you, they over you to punish you because you already went off as a nation, right? And they here to lift you up as well when you do well. For so, verse 15, for so is the will of God, that with well-doing you may put to silence the ignorance of foolishness. See, everybody got the wrong idea of who you are. But it's because all we do is speak rebellion. All we do is preach rebellion. But verse 16, as free and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. So it's, hey, when you show people how we really work for God and not as for man, it's going to change the whole world, the way the whole world see you. Ain't no way your master going to be able to look at you as the same as everybody else. Because everybody else in the world don't want to do it. They slaves by force. They not following God. They not following the Spirit of God. They're not looking for a voice that's telling them the right thing to do when the adversary is telling them the wrong thing to do. But you are, and you're obedient to the right voice. So let's get to it, man. It says, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king. Hey, why do you need to honor the king? Because in about half a second, the king about to put everything in your hand. A lot of people don't believe it. A lot of people don't see it. Right? Let's keep going. Verse 18. Subjects be servants. Shalakia. Verse 18. Servants be subject to your masters with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the froward. For this is thankworthy. If a man for conscience towards the Most High endure grief, suffering wrongfully, for what glory is it, if when ye buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently. So this saying is, if you endure grief after you did something wrong, you just doing your punishment. Hey, that's cool, but you deserved it. You just doing your punishment. That's normal. Let's keep going. It says, but if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with God. So it's saying, hey, but if you doing a punishment for something that you ain't do, that's when you're going to be exalted. That's when you're going to be glorified, right? Why is it saying this? It's because this is like Christ. This is like Christ right here. This is like Christ. Christ didn't do nothing wrong, but he still died for our sins. He suffered wrongfully. That's a different lesson, but here we go. So now we're about to just see the outcomes of Joseph and the outcomes of Daniel real quick. So we jumped all the way to Genesis 41, verses 37 through 45. And the thing was good in the eyes of the pharaohs. So something happened between the beginning of the story of Joseph I was reading and now. But know that there was no rebellion. Take your time and read through the story. But this is the ending. This is how the pharaohs start treating them towards the end. Verse 37. And the thing was good in the eyes of Pharaoh and in the eyes of all his servants. And Pharaoh said unto his servants, can we find such a one as this is? A man in whom the Spirit of God is. That's what I'm talking about. Joseph was obedient to the Spirit of God. This is what I'm talking about. It says, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, for as much as God hath showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. So there's nobody with the discretion and wisdom of you, Joseph. Verse 40, thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. So the last time we saw Joseph, he was in Potiphar's house, not the Pharaoh's house. He was in Potiphar's house, and Potiphar threw him into the Pharaoh's dungeon, into the Pharaoh's prison, because his wife lied on him. But that didn't keep a good man down. He came up in the prison. Eventually, through interpreting dreams, he got up here. And now he even over Potiphar. And watch. Man, this is crazy. It says, thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy words shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. So it said, hey, only in the throne. Everything else, hey, you got control of everything, Joseph. Take it. Verse 41, and Pharaoh said unto Joseph, see, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand and arrayed him. So Pharaoh gave him his ring to rule the kingdom with. It says, and he arrayed him in vestures of linen and put a gold chain about his neck. Pharaoh iced him out. Just like Kanye getting his Rockefeller chain. Pharaoh just iced my man out, bruh. This like Kendrick getting his TDE chain. This like Lil Baby getting his QC chain. Come on, man. He say, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in a second chariot, which he had. So there was only one chariot better. That was a Pharaoh's chariot. And they cried before him, bowed the knee, and he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And the Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. He said, hey, without Joseph, nobody can lift up their hand or foot. Verse 45, it said, and Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zaphnath-Paneah. And he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On. And Joseph went out over all the land of Egypt. So this is what obedience got him, not rebellion. How many people would Joseph have had to kill to get to this position? How many armies would he have had to fight to get to this position? How many magicians would he have had to hold off to get to this position? How many astrologers would he have had to counteract to get to this position? This position came through obedience, not rebellion. Obedience doing what? In this time of slavery. In this time of imprisonment. All right, we looked at Joseph. Now let's check out Daniel. Daniel 1. This is still chapter 1. I think about 15. Daniel 1, verse 46. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshiped Daniel and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. So Daniel did something. Not a rebellion, to make the king. Now, just think, if Daniel rebelled, how hard would it be to get to this position where the king is bowing down to him? What would he have had to done in his flesh without the Most High? But with the Most High, he can be obedient and get to this position. It's something we missing. It's time for us to reconfigure. It's time for us to change our mind. We got to get in the nuts and bolts of our perspective and our opinions. Start listening more than we talking. This is it. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is, where your God is a God of gods and a Lord of kings and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldst reveal this secret. Then the king made Daniel a great man and gave him many great gifts and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king. So this is chapter 1 of him being in bondage. 3 years and some change later. Maybe 4 years later. And the king is bowing down to him. The king Nebuchadnezzar is bowing down to him, putting everything in Babylon in his control. Now, Daniel like, hey, okay, that's cool. But I need one thing. Before you do this, let me ask you something. I got one request. I got one request, Nebuchadnezzar. And he said he requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon. But Daniel sat in the gate of the king. So he said, hey, before you go, hey, I just need you to go ahead and hook my homeboys up with a position. They've been with me this whole time, man. Without them, none of this was possible. Hey, I need you to go ahead and put my homeboys in a position of power too, because, hey, they got the Most High just like me. It's gonna benefit us. You see how that work? You see how the Most High work? So let's get it. Takeaway number 1. Coming out of slavery on the wrong terms isn't right. Look at Haiti. Yeah, just look at Haiti, right? They say that Haiti was the Levites and all that. A lot of people say that if you believe in the 12 12 tribes charts. And if we just look at Haiti, they were the first ones to rebel, the first ones out of the slavery, the slave trade, to rebel and get free. But they rebelled. But if your rebellion ain't caused by the Most High, if you're not rebelling to come back to the Most High, if you're not rebelling to do the right thing, then your rebellion is in vain. If you just rebelling to get free and to go off and do voodoo or whatever you're gonna do and not follow the Most High, then your rebellion is in vain. Now look at Haiti now. Now Haiti is on the same island with the DR, but the side that is Haiti is the side that's the most downtrodden. You gotta think about it. It's the side with all the so-called cannibalism going on, man. We gotta look and see, hey, what's happening? Ever since the rebellion, it was never quite right. But on the same island, it's an astonishment. On the same island, the same piece of land right across, without even going into the water, just walking across, it's prosperity. Why? Because as a whole, our people ain't coming back. Us in U.S. ain't no different. As a whole, our people is not coming back. Now watch this. Takeaway 2, serve with the purpose of God's will in your heart. This is the only way to get to success, because the God Most High is reading your heart. So right where you are, right where you stand, right where you have been, remember, serve, do your job with the intentions of pleasing the Most High. And with time, you have to listen at the same time. Do your job with the intentions of pleasing the Most High, but keep an ear out. Keep an ear out for what the Most High wants you to do. Keep an ear out for the Most High's ultimate plan in your life. But until you become obedient to that voice of doing the right thing, you're never gonna be able to hit a route out. Here we go. Takeaway 3. Thou hast cast men to ride out over our heads. We went through fire, through water, but thou broughtest us out into a wealthy place. That's Psalm 66:12. So it's once we get tried, once we go out, once we listen, it's always gonna be better on the other end. It's always gonna be better on the other end. And I know I'm just saying the same thing in different ways, but this is what's needed, y'all. I hope y'all able to see it. I hope we able to change our perspective on just our duty and our station in life right now. I hope we go to work tomorrow. I hope we wake up, if we entrepreneurs, if we work for ourselves, I hope we wake up with a new vigor, with a new fully revitalized, with a new energy towards the Most High for serving. I pray blessings upon those who fear the Most High and seek to do His commandments. I pray blessings upon those that are attempting to follow the voice, the word, the law that's written on their heart. Thank you, Father, for everything you've given in the name of your Son. Blessings.